Hello, everyone, and we're going to actually have a brief chat today about the shift of planet Earth. I mean, so many of you will have heard talk about the shift and things like that. So we're going to talk a little bit about the history and what that actually means. But we want to focus, I think, primarily, going on to really talk about what we need to do now in order to help this whole thing forwards. So the shift really is about the movement of Earth from the 3D planes into the 4D, 5D, 6D planes. It's the movement from what's called the ego personality matrix into the soul matrix, where we move from a very mind-based way of being and perception of the world into a very heart-based, soul-based perception of the world. And it also means those of you who are familiar with our history and with the fall of Tara and the reasons why, and maybe we can talk about this at some point, the reasons why humanity are on Earth to restore Tara's fragmented morphogenetic fields and to rescue the lost souls of Tara. The Earth has basically, the consciousness of the Earth has been undertaking that even as humanity has been doing this same job on the Earth. Against the fallen races who very clearly don't want this to happen. They don't want that raise in frequency. So Earth has been trying to make this move, and by trying to make it for quite a long time, or the consciousness of Earth has, and it has been prevented stellar activation cycle after stellar activation cycle, which is when the stargates open to allow the movement, if if it can take place to happen. That has been prevented for many, many thousands of years. And the fallen races, after the last stellar activation cycle, where they had a plan to pull Earth fully into phantom fall, and it was prevented by the guardian races, they fully activated what is called the Luciferian Covenant, or the Luciferian Rebellion, which is very much their plan to ensure that this time around, this stellar activation cycle, they didn't lose. So they've been laying plans to ensure that Earth and her people cannot make a move into higher dimensional planes for a very long time. And there was all to play for at this particular point. The stellar activation cycle, the preparations for it began with the harmonic convergence in 1987. It really started, the process really started from about the year 2000 on. And for those of you who had any radar out there at all, you will know that we were starting to get everything thrown at us from that point in time. The actual mechanism of movement of the planet, the ability for the planet to move, to hold sufficient frequency to be able to begin the momentum of movement up to the next dimensional frequencies, started in 2012. I mean, we had so many horror stories around 2012, but this was really what was happening. And the fallen angelics were trying to stop that. The movement began. Star seeds are here. So many have come to the Earth to anchor these higher frequencies, to help Earth consciousness and to help humanity get to that threshold. We made it. We made that threshold, and the Earth started to move. But the whole time, we got grappling hooks being thrown at us, trying to pull us back. By 2017, Earth had actually made it. I mean, there's effectively a membrane that dissolves between the dimensions. Earth had accreted sufficient frequency to make that movement through and into the next world, but then it had to stabilize itself. It could still be pulled back, so it had to stabilize itself. So we've had a period of going through that, and the full anchoring in, so that this is not going to be undone. We're not going to be pulled back. Actually, fully took shape last year. So that movement is through there. It's just most of us are trying to catch up with that. And there is still a whole level of humanity who are basically very mind controlled. We would call them unawakened, that we're trying to kind of get on side. So that's a bit of the background, a bit of where we are now. We have made the movement through into the next density, into the soul matrix, as it's called. We're in the lower frequencies of the fourth dimension, accreting those to accrete those of the fifth dimension, the sixth dimension, before we all make the movement on from there again. So in some ways it's a victory, but it isn't a victory. While we still have souls, we have human souls who are still really captured within the matrix, as it were. And that is partly the job that we all have coming up next, as well as establishing what the new earth looks like, because that is, we are co-creators. We make this reality. So it is something, a consensus reality that we all have to come together and agree on. So we still have, two big jobs to do, really. It isn't done. And there's still all the rubbish going on from those who haven't realized they've lost, as it were. Well, my take on it is that they know they've lost. They're just going to trash the place on the way out, basically. Yeah. Which is very childish, but that's the nature.
It is as it is.
So Felix, would you like to pick up?
Absolutely. So loved what you said there. What I'd like to add on to that is, as we've kind of jumped into this next phasing of I would say the planet's more so on a fifth level, but it's everything else that inhabits it is kind of jumping from third, fourth, and fifth. And within a dimension, we actually have 12 subharmonics that run in between it as well. So it's not as simple as jumping up a dimensional scale. It is, you've got to kind of move up through these individualized layers in order to kind of accrete the momentum to move into the next dimension. So what I have kind of been seeing, we'll just dial back to 2020, which was an attempted kind of planetary takeover. And through this experience,
that was really the last throw of the dice, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was their big attempt to try and take back what they wanted, but it didn't work. So what we had there, we had a split of worlds, and we saw two very different levels of awareness kind of playing out. And what we've learned from that is being able to refine discernment and refine our own kind of our awareness of reality. And this has been like a kind of trajectory that has pushed us so far forwards in realigning what we actually want out of life and what we want to see in the world. So while we've got this two world split, we're now, as we've jumped up through 2024, I said about 2 years ago, we were going to see a three world split. So I'm not doing this fancy mudra here. So this third world here is this bridge in between that actually connects both worlds together. And what we're going to see over the next 4 years is the harmonization between both sides, where they come together and start to find a level of agreement in what's going on in your reality. The more we see the world stage get more and more controlling and aggressive, this is what highlights the awareness of that. And this is what creates a pathway towards the singularity. And the singularity is where the people come together and overthrow the false king of tyranny. So
the alien invaders, effectively, or
it's the alien
or whatever you want to call them.
It's the minions that are kind of being puppeteered by them, that make the laws and make the rules and things like that. And what we also have within that is a mirrored but very distorted on the negative side projection of a positive timeline. So it's got it mirrors a positive timeline, but underneath it, I think I use this analogy of being given a cookie, and the cookie was filled with beetles and bugs, and then you're left to eat it, and that's the only thing you can eat because it's already kind of been built. So what they try and do within this, we've got this mirroring of timelines, one positive, one service to others, one service to self, both designed to look exactly like each other. So where we are kind of being able to pull to understand this is we can see we can get the evidence from our reality and the notions and the motives of those in charge to kind of act as a driving force to teach us where this is kind of going, what are they saying, what are they kind of doing. Whereas we've got other ones that are kind of intentionally making the world free. Both sides, one side doesn't look as chaotic as the other. The side that's breaking free looks chaotic and looks dangerous. It presents as danger. And this is mashed with an inversion template. So where we're kind of breaking away and trying something new, all of this kind of chastisement, all of this criticism and kind of fear mongering around it, or kind of negative words that are being said about the group that's doing this, is the negative side trying to control them.
Mm.
That's what I'd say to that.
Yeah, and I see that an awful lot of that group um, have actually moved. They are well out of their control. That they're in what I would call observer consciousness. They are looking at what's going on. They are trying to help others break free of it, while also sort of laying plans for the future. But there's, they let me sort of really speak to the group of people that I know and work with. Is that they're not being energetically captured by the stories that are being told, the dramas that are being played out, and things like that. And it is, in some respects, it's the process of moving those who still are triggered by these dramas and these. I mean, they're game playing. There's so much of it is game playing. To try to move them into a place where they can take the eagle's eye view and see. And again, it's to do with frequency because in the lower astral, which are the lower levels of the fourth dimensional frequencies, this is where a lot of the controller races actually hang out. If you if you can get yourself into the higher level of the astral realms, the 4D realms, into the fifth dimensional levels, which a lot are achieving now, you look down and you see it for what it is. It's when you're stuck in it, can't see the wood for the trees, or you're looking up at it, that you see the chaos. So just keep working on yourself and accreting your frequency and building your frequency and your consciousness, because it's then builds a field, effectively a field of influence around you. And not only are you in a better place, but you help those around you be in a better place.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you work on your fears, as an example, which is primary to what the negative races do, they pull on your fears, and that restricts the consciousness to keep you capped and unable to see what's going on. And they do this to maintain control. But the more you know, the better and more free you become, because you realize you've got choices, then you don't have to consent.
Yeah.
And it takes your consent for them to move forwards.
Yeah.
So they put it subtly in movies. They'll put things in different positions. I mean, I'm probably teaching you all to kind of suck eggs here, because you're all very, very aware and and awake already on my channel, and I'm sure on Saira's channel.
But it's those who aren't that we still have to help, because there are still souls to be rescued.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But the great points of this are the liberations and the liberties that come with it.
Mm.
Because as you accrue this frequency of self-awareness, of awareness of your reality and your sovereignty, this then downloads into the collective field as well. And you start to manifest. The more you exercise your sovereignty, the more you manifest a sovereign life
Yeah.
and free will. And this is what we're kind of seeing playing out within America at the moment. There is a big exercising of
Yeah.
sovereignty and free will.
Mm. And
So,
it will roll out, because as you said, I mean, you said mass consciousness. I mean, we just need to get to a critical mass of movement and frequency, and it's like the 100-month monkey syndrome. It then goes whoosh, through the whole collective.
yeah, I see. That's interesting because I would say the critical mass of awareness was reached in 2022.
I think it was.
Yeah, and what happens, exactly like Saira said, it's like a big pot of bubbling water. The water bubbles and steams and then starts overflowing over the edge of the pan and then putting out the flames underneath it that's boiling it, right? So what this does then, whether people are awake or not, they can still see something that's going on.
Yeah.
And in their reality, they'll have their neighbors coming in. Oh, did you see this? Did you see that? Whether they like it or not. Because when we've got these people that are kind of aware of it, but not fully aware of the whole kind of realizing the kind of free will of others and giving them information when they might not be ready for it, they're still receiving some kind of information, and people think about these things then, which we reached in 2022. We're now in 2025, and the reason why the US went red through every level was because of all of the control that was being pushed by the blue. Now, the interesting thing about this is through this next 4 years, as I said, we're coming to the unification, the blue and the red go purple. And I saw this when, I think it was in September, with a client. I was working with a client, and this information came forward over America. I think it was September. But yeah, so that is a bridge of unification. And if we look up to the seventh dimensional field as well, it is the Hyperborean consciousness. It's a blending of gender polarity. It's a blending of kind of, it's unifying a big chunk of the structure. So we've got a lot of kind of information just with that color tone in and of itself.
And it's worth remembering. I mean, we have, as I said, there's a lot of starseeds on the Earth at the moment. First of all, to help enable the movement, the jump that has taken place, and they are now working on accreting the frequencies into the 7D levels, while humanity is working on the 4, 5, 6D levels. The starseeds are working on the 6, 7, 8, 9D level. It's kind of like role modeling and pulling, helping to pull everyone up. So starseeds, we're a long way from done.
But well done.
We're a long way from done. But I mean, I just think it's incredibly hopeful. Well, hope, it's not even hope. It's just optimistic. The future is bright. You just need to not get caught up in the dramas and the play acting and the game playing that's going on at the moment. And so much of that I just want to say before really I finish. I'm finished, I don't know about you. But so much of the game playing is around survival consciousness. They are pulling at your sense of, oh my God, I can't pay the bills, I can't this, I can't that, my life's falling apart, etc., etc. Pulling on really what are root chakra issues. They're trying to pull us back into the root chakra when we should be in the heart.
Hmm.
So be very aware of that. I mean, the earth is a very abundant place if we
Hmm.
tune into it at that level.
Hmm.
And if we tune into the flows of energy, it flows easily and openly.
Hmm.
But if you're working from survival fears, you block all that flow totally.
Hmm.
That's what they're trying to. That's the mentality they're trying to keep in place.
Hmm. Absolutely, yeah. And what I will also add on to that is 2023 to 2024 going through, yeah, 20 when the Ruby Templar came in, we had the rapid update to the root chakra and the machinery that was kind of connected to that. So we're actually in a quite a rapid rehabilitation of the fear consciousness, especially where engineering and machinery is concerned, to create artificial currents that connect to the artificial timelines. This has been dismantled. It's just
Mm,
a case for you guys to kind of recognize, connect into, and allow the organic upfolding of you getting over your own fears of security, because it's already done.
mm.
It's just realizing that is the part, and it does take a bit of sitting with and kind of thinking, oh, actually, this used to scare me before, it doesn't anymore. Something's changed,
Mm.
something's shifted. So
It's
actually, I'm
mas-
okay.
yeah, it's mastery of your emotional field. And
Yeah,
when the fears do pop up, because they do, we're all human, something happens and it's like, oh my God, how's that going to
yeah,
affect?
yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like, no, I'm not playing that game. Pull it back.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I'm not giving my power to that.
Hmm.
Mm,
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely. All right then, guys. Thank you so much for watching today. It was lovely to have you again. And we will see you again soon.
yeah.
Lots of love. Bye.